You've been working hard, doing everything you're supposed to do. Are you at this point now? Because I remember doing this in the summertime playing hockey. You work out so much, you train so hard, and all you want to do now is just get in there and start playing.
Yeah, that's been my feeling for a couple weeks now.
I bet.
I mean, the off season's great to mentally kind of regroup, physically regroup, and start to try to work on some things. And then once you feel like you're at a point where there's really nothing else to work on and you're feeling good about your swing and your catching and you feel strong and mentally ready to go, it's time to go. And, it's been like that for a couple weeks now. And, but just trying to stay present and stay focused and keep going, keep working hard and, bust it right up until spring training, middle of February, and then roll it right into the season. So obviously looking forward to the year, but also looking forward to finishing out this offseason strong.
So I want the listeners to know that you are a once-a-week guy. Your main gig is being a catcher with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Your secondary gig.
This show is the main gig.
Secondary gig is Hot Take Central. But last night you texted me to let me know that you had to catch bullpens and, can we shuffle it around? And so we did, and we appreciate the fact that you're coming on earlier. But I want to know what bullpens you're catching. I want something, quote-unquote, newsy about who you're catching today and give us some sort of little tidbit. That's what I'm looking for, my friend.
We got a bunch of bullpens lined up today. We got we're starting at 9:30 Eastern time. We got Michaelis, Dakota Hudson, Steven Matz, Verhagen. Then we have Packy Naughton and Jordan Hicks. I think that's there. Is that six? That name's six?
Yeah, you
I
did.
might be forgetting somebody.
Yeah, no,
okay, yeah.
I'm writing them down because I will be tweeting this out. Inside word on Florida bullpens today, and then I'll see if I get any retweets because I live for that stuff.
Inside. You know what? You know what the inside word for me today is?
What?
Consistency. Because I'll tell you what, all these guys threw bullpens. Let me think. End of last week, and they were really good, really, really good. And I told those guys, I was like, that might have been the best group of bullpens I've caught all offseason, definitely. But, as far back as I can remember, everybody was throwing strikes. Stuff played good, coming out easy. So I'm looking forward to today to see if these guys can repeat. And if they can do that this early in the season, then I think that's going to be a good sign for all these guys kind of rolling into spring training, building that confidence, and hopefully rolling it into the season and producing big. Because, you look at those six guys, you're looking at some of our top, pretty much our top six guys, in the rotation and in the bullpen. So, looking forward to seeing what they can do today.
So, Kiz, a couple weeks ago, we were asking you about guys in the cage, and you said that Paul DeJong had retooled his swing. So, on the pitching side, we're not putting pressure on these guys, but give us a pitcher maybe that we're not talking about enough, that you've seen some nastiness in your bullpens that you think could have an impact or a better season than some folks are expecting here.
Newsy.
Dakota Hudson, I think 100% is going to have a big season. I think his mindset right now is to come in and absolutely dominate. And we've worked on some stuff here, his last couple bullpens, going back to that consistency aspect and being able to repeat mechanics, repeat pitches. And I really like where he's at right now. And that's why I say, repeatability and consistency is big today, because if you can keep building on the success of the last bullpen and the last bullpen and the last bullpen and just keep rolling, I think he's gonna start building that confidence and getting that kind of that fire and that attitude of, I'm attacking hitters, I'm nasty, and I'm going to dominate anybody that steps in that box. So I think, early prediction, I think Dakota Hudson is really kind of, I don't want to say retooling, but kind of regrouping, getting everything together, and just getting back to trusting his stuff, because when he's on, he's up there with one of the best pitchers in the league as far as getting outs, getting quick outs, and really being tough to hit. So looking forward to his bullpen today.
I think a lot of people sleep on Dakota, forgetting what he's already done and how he went through a bunch of injuries and surgery to bounce back. But one of the things I think was a challenge for him last year was working quicker. I remember Ali was always saying that Dakota's better when he works quicker. We're figuring out ways to make him just get the ball and throw. I get the feeling that the pitch clock will be a benefit to Dakota Hudson. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about that a little bit. And actually the way he structured his last bullpen, I really liked, and I hope he does it again today. I'm going to recommend it to him. But he worked through a couple of his pitches, just to get the feel for, his fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, sinker, get a feel for all of it. And then he was just rolling 4-pitch sequences. And, 4 pitches, next batter, 4 pitches, next batter, 4 pitches, next batter. Not thinking mechanics, not thinking anything to do with really anything that takes thought process, if that makes sense. It was all just execute pitch, execute pitch, execute pitch, execute pitch, next batter, and let's do 4 again. Let's do 4 pitches again. And I think kind of that mindset right there is really big in my eyes for kind of building towards that pitch clock. Like, hey, we're just going to execute a pitch, on to the next one. Execute a pitch, on to the next one. So I like where his head's at, and I like his preparation in the bullpen.
Another guy who I always find intriguing is Hicks, because his stuff is absolutely filthy. And he went through, he's starting, he's in the bullpen, some injuries along the way. I think he's a fascinating guy. I think fans really haven't gotten to know the real Jordan Hicks. Interesting guy. But if he can harness what he has, that guy's a weapon. Right now, he's a bullpen weapon. What have you seen from him?
I've only caught one of his bullpens. It was last week because he had just got down. And I liked – and it goes back to the theme of the day, repeatability and consistency. He's honing in that sinker to where he can throw that thing any given time and it be nasty, working in the zone, working on the depth, and working on just throwing a bowling ball down on a hitter's bat. I think he's played around with maybe a couple different slider grips to, get his slider a little bit more consistent in the zone, which obviously will help make his fastball even harder to hit because you have to respect another pitch. So I think, like I said, theme of the day, repeatability, and I think he'll be ready to go today.
Kids, be honest with us. Now, in talking about catching bullpens, I'm thinking back to high school days where you had to catch a bullpen like in the small gym early on in January, February. You had to catch all the pitchers, and catchers hated doing that. I know you're in sunny Florida, but do you enjoy catching bullpens where you just kind of have to catch guy after guy after guy and your knees start getting tired and all that?
I do not mind catching bullpens at all. I actually like it. And the reason I like it is because you can do catching drills in the cage off of a machine all day long and feel great and feel good about yourself. It's like hitting off of a tee. I can square up every single ball I hit off a tee and hit it exactly where I want to hit it with perfect mechanics. But the second you go into a game, it's different. So bullpens are as close as you can get to game reps as possible. So if I can work every single day catching bullpens, 4, 5, 6 bullpens, that's extra reps at game speed, and that's what I need in order to improve. You can only grow so much in the cage. You can work the skill. You can work the foundation. I do that. But to be able to get in there and actually see a live arm, and especially guys that I'm catching during the season, I mean, it's huge. It's just to continue to learn those guys, learn their mentality, learn their pitches, and really just get that game speed work that I need.
Here's what I wanted to ask you, Kiz. Aside from the newsy stuff, which is good, and it's also good for Charlie's YouTube because he's got a baseball YouTube. So you slid easily into your role here doing radio, which isn't easy, and we ask you questions, and you always have something good. I'm giving you all the credit in the world. What are your impressions of being a media guy? And also, when you're in the clubhouse, and you're one of the nice guys, so I know you're not going to say anything mean, but when you're in the clubhouse after a loss, and you see this, the 12 media guys ready to ask you why things didn't work out, what's your impression of being a media guy, and what's your impression of the other side of it when you have to be in the clubhouse talking to media guys, if that's clear enough?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with, answering questions post-game, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, however you played or however the team played. Being a professional athlete, a part of the job is media. You have to answer questions, whether you play good or bad. Like I said, that's just a part of the job. And I've really never thought twice about it. Obviously, it's different in the big leagues because there's media every single game. It's not like college or even in the minor leagues where maybe you get interviewed after a good game. So there is a little bit more there's a range of questions you get in the big leagues, and there's obviously more people asking questions. But that goes with the territory, so I don't even think twice about it. As far as me being a media guy, I don't know how much of a media guy I am.
You're part of this show,
Yeah,
baby.
you are.
That is true. That is true. So I do enjoy media. I think maybe one day post-playing career, I would like to get into broadcasting or something like that. I think it would fit my personality, and I think I'm knowledgeable about the game enough to, provide some insight. But, overall, I don't mind answering questions, and, especially in settings like this, being a quote-unquote media guy, I actually enjoy it. Talking baseball is what I do 24/7, so I like it.
And say something nice about the show, like you guys at Hot Take Central bring out my best, something that we can clip off and make a promo out of.
Yeah.
Hot Take Central is top notch. I mean, I wouldn't just sign on to do any show. I have to like the people first that I'm working with, and like what we're talking about. So, Hot Take Central provides both.
Well,
Love it.
When you retire in 17 years from the big leagues, man, you'll have job offers out the wazoo. So keep doing what you're doing, man, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, kids.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys next week.
See you, Big
See you,
Dog.
Kiz.
Right on. Andrew Knizner, Cardinals catcher, great guy.
Dakota Hudson.
I had a feeling he was going to say Dakota Hudson. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I had a feeling that was going to be the guy. I was thinking he'd say either Verhagen or Dakota Hudson could have a bounce back.
Verhagen.
2023. Well, I'm not
Verhoeven.
saying. Look,
Ooh,
but
Seth.
John Mozeliak, when he brings up Drew Verhagen, I think everybody rolls their eyes. Is that fair to say?
I don't.
Seth does.
Seth.
But isn't that
I
fair
do.
to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you never know.
Because-
could he be healthy and actually be a contributor? There is a chance.
Yeah, he's healthy now. Dakota Hudson's a guy I've been high on because I remember how good he was. I mean, he had a really good season. Then he ran into injuries. And you remember, I followed him pretty closely as he made his way back and talked to people that caught him and stuff. And they're like, no, he's back. He's healthy. And then he ran into some other problems. And I think it got into his head a little bit about working quicker. And so maybe the pitch clock helps him. But in terms of stuff, I know he's not the guy that gets swings and misses, which is what everyone wants now. But I think if called upon, who knows what his role is going to be. He's got to earn a spot in that rotation. He's got good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen or he'll be successful or he'll like this role, but I think there's definitive roles for guys who can be solid, dependable, multi-inning relievers. And if the Cardinals' entire rotation stays healthy, which it probably won't, but I think if he's effective, using Dakota Hudson as a multi-inning reliever could be a big asset for the Cardinals in 2023. If he's good, wouldn't you rather use him in that role than starting in AAA at this point in his career? Like, he's done that.
I'm eager to see him compete for a spot in the rotation. I think he has a shot to win it. I don't know who.
Over who?
I don't know over who, but as you said, injuries always come up. Always, especially at the tail end of spring training. Sometimes multiple injuries come up. I want to see what he can do. I agree. I don't want to see him at AAA. But being the long inning guy, when you've been a starter and a good one, it's tough because pitchers are creatures of habit. And being a long inning guy, you never know where it's going to fit in, where you're going to get work that day.
But those guys actually are valuable now, and they make money. Back in the day, that was a 37-year-old dude whose arm was dead who threw a knuckleball. And now there are guys who are very valuable as multi-inning relievers, and then boom, the second a guy gets hurt in your rotation, they can slide in.
Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, Mr. Rights Holder.
Is that Charlie or me?
That's you. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why can the Cardinals see a bad year as an outlier but refuse to see a good year as an outlier? They assume once you've had a good year, that's your floor. O'Neill and Hudson, for example. Wombat.
So Dakota Hudson in 2019, 16-7, 3.35 ERA, COVID, then injury.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's safe to say he deserves a look. It's not like he's got this long period of being a bad pitcher. And Tyler O'Neill has another guy injury prone. It's not like he can't hit. So he's had injuries. The question is, can he stay on the field. He believes he's changing his training routine to give him a better shot at that. Yeah, I think both guys still have value. I don't look at them as what their worst is because they're not far removed from being very good, and injuries played a part. It wasn't like they suddenly lost it.
I do think, though, specifically with Tyler O'Neill, that a lot of people said it was going to be really, really difficult for him to replicate 2021. And there's nothing wrong with that. That may be the best season he ever has. And even if he falls off 5, 10, 15% from that season, he's still really, really good. I mean, Tyler O'Neill finished 8th in the MVP in 2021. I don't think anybody expected him to be a top 10 MVP guy for the next 10 years. But he can fall off and still hit 26 homers.
I think if he's healthy and he's in the lineup, he's going to give you 30 homers. I don't think that's a crazy ceiling. Gives you 30 homers with speed and Gold Glove defense.
That ain't bad.
That's really good. And again, the question is, can he stay healthy? And I get that. But I'm not ready to say, can't do it, move on, because this guy is a unique talent.
Hudson and Parayko have a lot in common. Both suck and are living off of 1 year. Gino, he's always positive.
Wow.
Kyle chimes in and goes, I don't. I'm with Charlie. Being fortunate enough to be in a media room during winter warm-up and hear Hudson and Verhagen talk restored my faith in both. I'm not saying they're going to be top-shelf talents, but I have more faith that they will contribute. The big Kyle dog with the big hands.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see it in a guy's eyes. Doesn't mean anything, but you get a better feeling about where they are when you actually talk to them. And with Verhagen, look, Verhagen, I talked to him too. He gets it. He's supposedly this guy with these great analytics and the curveball that is, the great spin rate and everything, and he never did it. And he said he had arm problems early on, and he was like, I want to show these people I'm going to pitch through this, and he was never right. So give him another shot. It's not like the bullpen rests on the fortunes of Drew Verhagen.
Yeah. Dakota Hudson getting some nice praise at winter warm-up, and now from the Kiss dog. I'm intrigued. I'm hopeful he has a bounce-back season. 319. Damn. Why don't you put a name in 319? Where's that at? 319.
Here's the issue with Hudson, though. So career ERA, 3.61. That's pretty dang good. Career FIP is a run higher, and that's more of a predictive stat. Just can you replicate that year after year after year? And his main issue is walks. His career whip is almost 1.4. If that dude, though, doesn't walk hitters and he just goes up there and throws those 94-mile-an-hour bowling ball sinkers and he throws strikes, he's hard to hit. It's hard to elevate that pitch. If he's not walking guys and he's just loading up the zone, he can be pretty good.
And they believe that the walks that he's given up are also a result of him not just getting the ball and throwing, thinking about it, overthinking it, and letting it get in his kitchen a little bit. So maybe the pitch clock helps him. But again, it's not like, he one time won 16 games and has been healthy since and has never come close to replicating it. There are reasons why he hasn't been able to at least attempt to do that.